The final episode in the Skywalker Saga is just around the corner, and apparently there's a lot of controversy around it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
Alright, so I was off today. I wasn't feeling 100%, so no podcast yesterday. Sorry for those who missed it. I was going to talk about this anyway. There's a few other things in the news. There's a particularly interesting story that I want to get into, but no. My week got thrown off a little. It got thrown off a little. But anyway, also, I won't have time to do the throwback clips today. I'm kind of against the clock. I have to be somewhere pretty soon. So, sorry about that. This is going to be a short one, but hopefully it's interesting. For those of you who don't know, you can listen to the podcast in the iHeartRadio app. Just type in the show presents, Super Dario World. You can find it right there, or you can find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube as Super Dario World Podcast. In those three, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube, you can also find my Spanish podcast. It's right there. I did the first episode last Saturday. Going to do the second one this Saturday as well. So you can look forward to that on your Saturdays. If you speak Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, well, then I guess you can just have it in the background making noise. It will still help me. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today is about the final movie in the Star Wars trilogy that apparently has a lot of controversy around it. But let's put a little theme here. All right, that's good enough. So, the final movie in the Skywalker Saga, which has been just a roller coaster, man. It's been up, down, it's been all over the place, will be coming out this December. The title of the movie is The Rise of Skywalker. There's a lot of speculation around it. It's being directed by J.J. Abrams. Nobody really knows what's up with anything. It's all very weird. Everything in the like I said, it's a roller coaster, man. It's a roller coaster because you could do a pretty interesting debate as to whether or not it's a crappy franchise. I can't say that because the universe is so rich. The extended universe is so rich. It has so many great video games. It has so many great comic books. It has so many great TV shows. The Clone Wars was great. I really enjoy that, especially the animated one they did for Cartoon Network is great. So it's a very, very rich universe. But if you're talking about the movies, well, I'm not going to touch episode 1, but episode 2 is the best one. And I think it's been all downhill from there. Like, hardcore. It's been really hardcore downhill until you reach Rogue One. Rogue One was another blip in the radar. And then Solo and The Last Jedi were just atrocious train wrecks. So it's a very interesting franchise to say the least. You may love it as much as you want. I love it because again, great universe, super interesting concept, great characters until you reach the final franchise. Well, I'm sorry, not the final franchise, the final saga. And here's where the controversy begins. So, in The Last Jedi, they introduced a character named Rose, right? Rose, what's her full name? I don't even remember. Rose Tycho, whatever. Point is, she was played by an Asian lady, and the character sucked. Actually, I remember the actress actually got off social media because she was being bullied a lot. I don't know. I don't care. The character sucked. I don't blame the actress for it. The actress did an whatever job, but the character sucked. And her storyline was linked with the dumbest storyline in the movie. Like, there's a lot of really dumb storylines there. Hers was probably the worst. Made no sense, came out of nowhere, was almost completely irrelevant, and in the end, spoiler alert, she ended up screwing over the rebels. Like, one character is about to sacrifice himself to save everybody else, and she goes and messes it up for completely selfish reasons. And her logic is like, no, we can still do it. I don't know. I saw The Last Jedi once, and I couldn't watch it again. Usually, I try to watch movies twice so that I can get a perspective. Because the first time I see it just as a fan and I enjoy it, I don't get too deep into it. The second time I try to watch it a little bit more critically, And now I'm off the high. I'm off the fan high of like, oh, just you can get surprised with stuff. So the second time I tried to watch it objectively, this one I didn't even try it. It was just really bad all around, and I never had that desire to watch it again because again, it was so bad. And I remember a lot of the bad things off the top of my head. She was one of them. So there's a lot of controversy surrounding Rose Tico, whatever, Rose. I'll just say Rose, because apparently there's a new conspiracy theory that Disney is eliminating her from the merchandise. Now, for those of you who don't know, last Friday, Disney had something that they call the Force Friday, which is basically where they released new Star Wars merchandise. And they have a lot of stuff they're promoting right now. They have the video game that's coming up, Jedi the Fallen Order will be coming out soon. The Disney Plus launches next month, so they're really promoting The Mandalorian. They have the final movie in the trilogy, the Rise of Skywalker, coming out at the end of the year. So they released a ton of merchandise for a lot of stuff. And before there had been teases of certain things that you might see. However, when they actually unveiled the merchandise, Rose was missing from a lot of the stuff that they had seen before. And it's actually pretty funny because there's a lot of shirts where you can clearly, it's a Rose shirt. Like there's a shirt that says Rose and there's a cartoon of her right in front of it. Now the shirt just says, it doesn't say Rose, it says Rebel. And now the shirt just says Rebel. And also there's a lot of renderings where there's pretty much the entire cast in the front of the shirt. And then there's kind of like a blank spot where you could tell somebody used to be. Then they show you the preview pics and you could see that Rose was in there. It's pretty blatant that they're eliminating her completely from the universe. And there's, well, not from the universe, but they're trying to limit her role per se, which honestly is great because I hated her character. She sucked. She brought absolutely nothing interesting to the table. And my theory here is that having Rose there kind of messed up J.J. Abrams's original idea. Now, if you guys remember, Rose is kind of a one-sided love interest of I am blank of Jose Boyega's character. John Boyega's character. I don't know. I'm blanking out on his name. This is how bad the stupid trilogy is. Also, first off, I'm bad with names. I've always said it. But what's his character name? I'll look it up. It's not that hard of a look. Finn. This was gonna drive me nuts. Finn. Okay, so she's kind of a one-sided love interest for Finn. One-sided, I mean that Finn doesn't care about her at all, or at least it looks like he's not interested at all. This girl's just desperately after Finn. It's really sad. Also, when because Finn is clearly after Rey. It's more than obvious. The Last Jedi is pretty much Finn going after Rey the entire time, waking up and trying to find Rey. Until at the end, he was finally willing to sacrifice himself and actually do something for the cause. And Rose comes in and messes everything up. So, again, I actually would have enjoyed if Finn had died at the end of The Last Jedi. Because, all right, fine, some sacrifice. He did something. The whole time, he's just kind of been along for the ride. And he's a funny character. Finn is actually a pretty enjoyable character, but he hasn't really done anything relevant. Or voluntarily. He hasn't voluntarily really done anything heroic or... Yeah, no, not voluntarily. He's kind of just thrust into things. So I like that he actually was going to do something. And I thought that it was really bold of Disney to do this. Turns out they didn't. There was a lot of things that I thought were bold that Disney were going to do in The Last Jedi that turns out that wasn't at all. Like, for example, Leia, her death. I was like, all right, okay, it makes sense. And then they walk it back. Like, I don't want to get into why The Last Jedi sucks. The point is it just sucked. All right? There's... The worst, probably the worst moment in film history is Leia using the Force to go back into the ship. That is the worst moment in film history. I don't care. I don't care what anybody's saying. That was beyond stupid. The worst. The worst. Anyway, so there's a lot of controversy surrounding all this. Here's my theory. I believe, again, Rose was a character created by the director of The Last Jedi. David Johnson. So, David Johnson, or at least Rose was never part of J.J. Abrams' original idea. his plan from the get-go looked to be kind of like Finn and Rey. That was his thing. If you add Rose in there, kind of messes everything up, right? It kind of messes the whole stuff. And honestly, Rose is not good enough of a character to actually become a love triangle type of deal. First off, Rey doesn't really care about Finn that much, so it's like Rose chasing after Finn, and Finn doesn't care about her, and Finn chasing after Rey, and Rey doesn't really care about Finn other than, friend zoning him because she's kind of weirdly into Kylo Ren. It's really bizarre. It makes no sense. It's really weird, and the worst part, it is very uninteresting. Nothing is interesting about Rose. Nothing. Well, an interesting part was actually her sister who died. We know nothing about her, and now we never will because she's dead. I actually would have liked to see the story of the sister. She was a pilot, looked like she had, she was bold, she was heroic. It would have been actually nice to know a little bit more about her. But no, in fact, no, we end up having the crappy sister who sucks and who's just really annoying and very selfish. And so, I don't know. I'm actually happy that if JJ just completely eliminates her from the movie, I'd be happy. Because there was nothing that actually attracted me about this character in the sense that finding her interesting. She was very, 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 very plain. Nothing really special, nothing different. And she pretty much did exactly what I expected her to do. Right? It's like, when she ends up ruining things, like, this dumb bitch. Of course it was this dumb bitch. And she's a part, and also, I read a story where originally, so what Rian Johnson wanted to do with the whole casino thing is, what he wanted to do was, he wanted to make it a different type of story. And I don't know why he wanted to make, the casino thing made no sense. It's stupid. But he wanted to make it kind of a Finn and Poe Dameron adventure. So Finn and Poe going off and doing the casino thing. And then he said, you know what? I didn't want to make it like a dude road trip movie, right? I didn't want to do that, like a bromance thing. Because everybody hates bromances, right? Everybody hates all this stuff. It's really, really, really boring. It's not like there's a million movies about that because people freaking love bromances for some odd reason. Especially when the characters have chemistry, which Poe and Finn kind of do. So no, let's screw that. Let's, instead of sending Poe Dameron, who would actually be useful here because he's actually a pilot, and he could at least fly Finn there, because let's remember, Finn was a janitor, okay? Finn is a janitor, and Rose was an engineer. Neither of those are pilots. But no, let's send those two off. Let's assume that they know how to fly. Let's say it's like as easy as driving, because why not? Let's say that, or let's just say that, actually no. John Boy, Finn, in the very first movie, I was going to say maybe he got training that he knows how to fly a little bit. But no, in the first movie, the reason why Finn rescues Poe is because he doesn't know how to fly. It's a whole plot point. Last Jedi made no sense. But, so, what was my point? All right, so instead of making that thing, it could have at least been fun to watch. No, you got Rose there berating pretty much Finn the whole time and just fawning over him for a reason. I never understood why Rose liked Finn. Finn was not particularly likable in The Last Jedi. He was actually kind of really, really annoyed, and he was 100% focused on, I gotta find Rey. Is that what people find attractive? Hitting after somebody who's clearly very obsessed with somebody else? I don't think so. Anyway, so I'd be happy if Rose is gone. I don't see why this is well, it is kind of bad that they did it this way because you could see that there's a blank spot there. If they're sending a message, then good. Message received. I agree with the message. Screw Rose. She sucked. But if it was just kind of Disney trying to pretend like, oh, there was nothing really there. No, this is crazy stuff. I don't know. It's let's say it's not classy, but I think it's Disney's way of sending a message like, yeah, we realized that the Last Jedi was a mistake. I think that it's their way of signaling without actually having to flat out admit it. We're failing one of the greatest franchises of all time in terms of financial franchise. We're failing it. So it's like their way of sending a signal like, yeah, we're going to try to pretend. We're going to try to pretend that The Last Jedi never happened, and hopefully this makes you happy. So, in a way, I guess it's a good sign, in a way, but it's also pretty hysterical. Not going to lie. I highly enjoy it. I highly enjoyed that people are getting upset over it. I love when people get upset over dumb things, especially Rose. Who cares about Rose? Honestly, I've never met a Rose fan. I'm sure they're out there, but I've never met one. I've never had a conversation with one. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. I did talk with one person who really liked Rose, and then when I asked her why, she just said, oh, well, it's because, you know, she was a cool chick there doing stuff. And I was like, but that's Rey. It's like, well, yeah, so which was better, Rey or Rose? Rey, probably. And that's exactly what Finn thinks! That's exactly what Finn thinks! Anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. The show's off tomorrow, but I'll be here again, so I will be here tomorrow. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.